This is Jonathan with Gutter Guards Direct. Today we're going to take a look at each of the gutter guards that we tested in 2024 as standalone videos. So you'll see kind of how the systems looked at the end of the test when we took them off. You'll see what debris is sitting on top of the covers, if any. You'll see what got inside the gutters, if any. And then you'll see the water tests and kind of the final analysis. So stay tuned for the video. This is LeafFilter on the north side of the garage. This system has been up here now for 3 years, a little bit over 3 years. And like Master Shield sitting next to it, you can see, well, this was part of our long-term test. So even though it never won anything, in fact, it often, at least from a leaf and debris perspective, often lost the debris challenge, and it's completely understandable when you kind of look at those two systems. We kept it up here because it's the ubiquitous one. If you look at any marketing and advertising, TV or print, you're going to see LeafFilter if you're in the market for gutter guards. And if you do searches online, those ads are going to pop up all the time. So I am now going to conclude this test after 3 years. So we've never touched this, and well, other systems have improved over the course of the year in terms of the debris kind of shifting off of them. If the debris had been up there for some period of time, you can see that this one has just collected a lot more debris. In fact, there seems like there's just a ton sitting on here. So I am going to go ahead and remove the debris that's up here now, and we'll calculate that. We're going to let it dry out just so we can compare it to the other systems that have any debris sitting on top of it. Once it dries out, well, we'll do a wet weight and we'll do a dry weight. That way we can kind of compare the two. But this concludes the LeafFilter test after 3 years here on the north side of the garage. Okay, I've just taken the top layer of stuff, or most of the stuff, off the top of the LeafFilter system. And what I wanted to show you, because again, we have never touched this in the 3 years that it's been up there, you can see how the dirt has kind of, or the debris has decayed over time, and it's essentially turned into dirt or mud on top of that gutter screen. So people always wonder, is that screen going to get clogged? And the answer is really no. The screen itself isn't going to get clogged, but you can see stuff just sitting on top of it. Naturally, if you have a layer of mud or dirt sitting on top of it and it gets wet, then it's more likely that it's going to block the water flow from getting inside. So I just wanted to show you that before I scrape the rest of this off. But here's an area where I scraped a little bit more off, and you can see that screen there. So it's not as if stuff is really wedged inside the screen, but clearly if you get a layer of stuff sitting on top of it, then it's going to act as an impediment, and it's going to prevent some of that water from going inside the gutter. I've wiped the LeafFilter clean at this point, or mostly clean. There's a little bit of stuff on there, but it doesn't really matter. Anything that remained on the roof, I'm not going to factor that in because technically it wasn't sitting on top of the gutter guard, but you can see how it kind of built up onto the roof. So at this point, now that I've wiped everything off the gutter guard itself, this stuff will either transition onto the gutter guard, or if it dries up, it's a little bit wet right now, but once it dries up, it may just blow right off the top. Now that I've given it a head start and kind of brought it back to its original form, you can see even right now, just the little red or purple, pinkish colored flowers are coming off the red bud tree up top, and they're going to transition onto here even as we're talking right now. Now I'm going to take out the screws and remove the gutter guard itself. This has been up here for 37 months, so just over 3 years. Never looked inside it before, so today's going to be the big reveal. You can see this debris across the top. I'm actually going to remove this now while the cover's still in place, because we've already removed everything off the cover. I don't want that to fall inside the gutter, so we'll just get rid of that. That was debris that was kind of working its way down and would have eventually landed on top of the gutter cover, but never made it all the way there. So now I can unscrew this. There are 3 screws, there are 3 tabs in each leaf filter panel. There's little 3/4 inch tabs, they're slots, and you put the screw in each of those tabs. Now, if you're the owner of LeafFilter, odds are the installers didn't know to do that, and they just put the screws wherever the heck they wanted to. Okay, so I got it out. You can see it still has some debris sitting on top of that, so I might add that to the portfolio of stuff that we had from earlier today. In fact, I will add it to the portfolio of stuff we had today. But let's take a quick look inside, and you will see almost nothing in that gutter guard. So I would say LeafFilter did a fantastic job. 3 years of being installed up here, never touched it, and that fine screen kept almost everything out. You can see some few locust leaves, some pine needles, and maybe some stems and some dirt, but overall it did a great job filtering that out. And actually I was somewhat expecting that, but this is actually more impressive than what I was expecting after 3 years of it being up there. So again, this is LeafFilter. Didn't do such a good job with stuff on top, and as a result, it's going to have a hard time winning any of these tests. In fact, it won't win any of these tests. But the interior of the gutter, nice job, LeafFilter. There wasn't much to scrape out of LeafFilter. Most of it was sitting over the screen there, so I took out the majority of it. Maybe there's a little bit more I can grab there. And then we will weigh it and let you know how much was in there. Here we're looking at LeafFilter from the north side of the garage. If you look at the top right photo, the May shot, this is 26 months after we initially installed it. So the first installation, it happened a little over 2 years prior to this photo being taken. You can quickly scan the 3 photos, and what do you see? The common denominator is there's pretty much always something sitting on top of it, and there was really no exception in the beginning of year 3 of our testing with the LeafFilter system. We've received a lot of comments from people that purport that we installed this product incorrectly. And I just want to be clear, we used to be a dealer for this product. We used to install this product for a living. People used to pay us to put this product on their homes. I was a fan of this product. In 2008, when I first learned of LeafFilter, I liked this product a lot. I felt like it was the best gutter guard on the market at the time for what it did. And what it does, and what it does really well, is it keeps leaves and debris out of your gutters. So if you care about nothing other than keeping leaves and debris out of your gutters, LeafFilter will do the job. It does a really nice job overall. The problem with this system is it all comes down to the design, and you have to look at this. This was the original micro mesh gutter guard. A guy named Alex Higginbotham from Virginia created this gutter guard many, many years ago, like in 1999. And he did a really good job with it, but there were some shortcomings to it. And as your first invention, you would expect you're going to have some things that work well and some things that don't work really well. And if you're a good inventor, odds are you're going to invent another product that improves upon what you have here. So LeafFilter was the first micro mesh gutter guard. He then created a product called Master Shield, which is also part of our long-term test here. So first one was LeafFilter, second one was Master Shield. Very similar in some ways and very different in other ways. And the primary difference we can say here, really 2 things. LeafFilter is made from plastic or PVC, so it is subject to expansion and contraction and warping. And then the other thing is it is designed to live within the gutter. So the frame is a little bit fatter on the back and a little bit skinnier on the front. And when that sits on the hanger inside the gutter, that creates the forward slope. So technically, if you install your gutters properly and you put your hangers in your gutter properly, you're going to get about a 10 or 11 degree slope on this product when it's installed within the gutter, and that's exactly what we had here. So it looks like it's flat inside the gutter. It's not. It actually has a 10 or 11 degree slope on it, and we verified that with a slope meter. So long and short of it is, the flatter your gutter guard sits inside your gutter, the more likely you're going to get leaves and debris that will build up on top of it. In the case of LeafFilter, by and large, it will keep that stuff out of the gutter, but it's not going to keep the stuff from sitting on top of the gutter guard. So I think what they've done, what LeafFilter has done, is they have started adding, they've been doing this for a long time, but they add additional hangers inside the gutter, and then they encourage their installers to put the hangers at a steeper slope so that the gutter guard will be at a steeper slope to give it a fighting chance for stuff to blow off or wash off the top of the gutter guard. The problem with that approach is, if that's what's happening, and quite honestly, when I look in the field, I usually don't see that, but I've heard that from a lot of comments that people have made on YouTube. So if that's what they're actually doing, it's probably going to make the product perform worse over time than just installing it the way that it was designed to install. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to get into the proper installation method, which is what you see here in the photo. So in the May shot, you can see after 26 months, we still have a bunch of stuff sitting on top of it. You go to the October shot, you can, maybe you can see a little bit of the screen under there, like over the downspout. You can see a little bit of screen. But by and large, there's a bunch of stuff sitting on top of it. It's not to say that stuff never left the top of this system, because it did. It cycled in and out. But there was never, ever a time where it was all screen and nothing else sitting on top of it. It always had something on there. Sometimes it had more, sometimes it had less. But you can see in these three shots at the beginning of our test for the 2024 season, which would be basically 26 months after this product was installed as part of the long-term test, there's a bunch of stuff sitting on top of it. Come October, a bunch of stuff sitting on top of it. Now, loosely sitting on top of it here, it looks, you can kind of see it looks dry. It's just kind of lofty sitting on top of the gutter cover. So there's a fighting chance that it might blow off. But then, and this is at the end of the leaf falling season, this October shot, this was taken at the end of October. So there's not a lot more stuff to come down. But then you go to April the following year, and what do you see? Even more stuff sitting on top of it. So whatever came down after that October shot just kept building up on top of it and created a huge mound of stuff on top of that gutter cover. And as you can kind of see where the roof line is, not all that's sitting on top of the gutter cover. Some of it's just wedged up against the roof shingles there. But the bottom line is, installed properly, if you live in a wooded environment or a reasonably treed environment, certainly areas around your house, you might expect a scene like this. You might find other areas work perfectly fine, but that's what you got in this particular case after 3 years up on the garage. If we go over to the left-hand column, you can see the amount of debris in the gutters. So less than 1 ounce of material was in there. And really the difference between this and the Master Shield system, because we took the covers off both systems at the exact same time or the same day, there was 0.9 of an ounce of material in here, but there was some water weight to that material because the gutter cover was so covered up with leaves and debris. Basically, there was no way for fresh air to get in and circulate around the interior of the gutter, which kept the environment wetter, darker, and wetter. Whereas on the Master Shield system, there was really nothing sitting on top of the gutter cover so the air could circulate through there and dry up the debris. So while there was a similar amount of debris in both, obviously a little bit more here in the LeafFilter system, a lot of it was probably just kind of the water weight of the material that was in there. So where I think LeafFilter does a really good job, to reiterate, is it will by and large keep the vast majority of the stuff out of your gutters. It's at the top echelon of all the systems that we've ever tested, and its ability to keep leaves and debris out of your gutters. It's fall flat on its face is how much stuff can potentially sit on top of the gutter cover. So in this case, 28 ounces of material we took off. So that's like 1.5 pounds of material. It looks like a lot worse in, on this photo than it actually turned out to be weight-wise, but that's a lot of material sitting on roughly a 4-foot section of gutter there. And then the other area where this really got hammered was its ability to take in water. And really, I think it's twofold here. Or it's primarily because so much debris built up on top of it. It just created, it's not like the screen itself clogged. I was never, if we wiped all that stuff off the top, yeah, you'd have some dirt and kind of mud-like stuff sitting on top of the screen, but it's not penetrating through the screen in this particular screen. So it's really, its ability to take in the water was, frankly, the water, I think in large part, just couldn't even get to the screen. I mean, you see how much stuff is sitting on top of that system. So it was last place in its ability to take in water after 3 years, whereas the first year that this product was up there, it was at the top of the heap. It was like either number 1 or number 2. Master Shield and LeafFilter were like within a hair of each other in that first year. But as time marches on and people aren't buying gutter guards to sit on their roof for a year, they're buying them hopefully so they never have to worry about it again. So year 1 did a nice job taking in the water. Year 3 came in last place of the long-term testers for this particular test. We'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons, and be sure to ding the bell and you'll be notified the next time we upload a video.